Hi, I'm Barb.
And I'm Alex.
And we're Enchanterium.
In today's video, we'll be making Sangria, the beach bar bartender, for the Dollightful Tropical Collaboration. Sangria is a drink and is typically made with red wine and fruit, but every bartender has their own recipe. We were inspired by this photo of a tropical sangria, but decided to stick with the red wine to contrast the vibrant colors of the fruit. For this project, we'll be using an Ever After High doll, Melody Piper. Her hair had potential since the maroon color matched the red wine vibe we are going for, so I decided to restore and restyle her original hair. First, I soaked the hair in boiling water and brushed them out with a pet brush to get rid of tangles. To soften the hair, I used an unknown amount of fabric softener mixed with water. I let the head sit in this bath for around an hour. After that, I washed it out and let the hair dry. I will take care of the nasty ends when I style the hair later.
It's time to prepare our doll base. I'm removing the factory paint with pure acetone and cotton buds and sanding her leg tattoo with sandpaper. The next step is to give her a delicate blushing with chalk pastels and a makeup brush on her body and face. I'm using a warm shade of brown for the shadows and some ecru for the highlights. Melody has really defined face features and I'm following the shape of the molded eyes. When the sketch is ready, I'm moving on to drawing the eyes with watercolor pencils. Using a well-sharpened pencil, I'm drawing her long lashes on both eyelids. I wanted to try a new technique for making eyebrows, and I'm sketching the end of brows with a pencil and then coloring the rest with pastels. I'm removing any mistakes with a kneaded eraser and detailing the brows with pencils. Next step is to make the white of the eyes with a white pencil. I'm starting to draw some white details of the eyes and eyebrows. This will make the colors more visible. I'm giving her a little bit of an eyeshadow in pink and yellow. I really like the effect of white highlight, so I'm using a white pencil on the cupid's bow, tip of the nose and under the eyes. After the layer of Mr. Super Clear, the effect will be more delicate. I decided to make her eyes red mixed with yellow, but first I'm using white paint for more coverage. I'm painting some iris details like white lines and a golden spot in the middle of the pupil. Then I'm filling the white spaces with acrylics and painting the waterline with white. I'm also making her eyelashes more visible by adding white lashes to the existing ones. I think she's going to look cute with some white and brown freckles. I'm going to show you the tip when your doll has a bored glance and you don't like it. I'm going to visually open the eye by painting the white line on the top of the irises, and when the paint is dry, I'm coloring it with a matching pencil. The last step is always the glitter and glossiness. I'm applying one layer of golden and one layer of white pearlex powder on her cheeks, nose, lips and forehead.
Time for the sewing. This time I'll be sewing just by hand. I cut out my pattern pieces, and you can find the pattern in the description. First, I hemmed the bottom piece around the leg holes and the back. The bottom must be a stretchy material so it can fit around the butt. Next, I closed the back of the panty part. I put it on the doll and I didn't like the fit, and it's totally my fault because I hemmed it with less seam allowance than there was in my own pattern. I had to redo the seams. Enter the dreaded seam ripper. I carefully snipped the parts I didn't like, pulled some more fabric and resewn it. It looks much better. For the top part, I opted out for glued hems. I took my time and applied as little glue as I could because the fabric was thin and I didn't want the glue to bleed through. It still did though, so later we're going to cover that up. I gathered the middle of this piece by sewing a basting stitch and pulling the fabric. I wrapped the thread around and secured it with a stitch. I think there is some missing footage here. Oops. I wrapped the weird sticking up strap in the front from the bottom part of the suit around the bra part and sewn it in place to join the pieces together. As a final step, I glued the bra in the back to the doll. To make this booty cover thing, I used some beads and a string. I started by making a loop around her hips and added longer strings of beads. I went through the beads multiple times to tie it together, but believe me, I was confusing myself and changing my technique every few minutes. You can make this with multiple strings and it will look the same. I encourage you to experiment if you're going to try this yourself. With her hairstyle, I was going for that saddle beach wave, so I used jumbo straws. I also used just 5 sections, so the curls would be a little bit more loose. I secured the straws with bobby pins and boil washed the hair. After that dried, I unraveled the straws and split the curls into smaller ones. I decided to do some miniature braiding. I prepared my sections by taping them with painter's tape. I sprayed the hair with water to avoid single hair poking out through. I referenced a tutorial by Annie's Forget-Me-Nots, which I have linked below. Alex had to come and help me take off some of the tape. This is the moment when I decided to trim her ends a little bit because they were still fried. Here, I pulled on the braids a little bit to give them a looser look and secured them with a string, because I want to hide them. I cut the ends of the braids close to the strings and applied some hot glue so it wouldn't unravel. When the glue has cooled a little, I molded it with my fingers. Be very careful if you do this, because hot glue is, well, hot, and it can burn your digits. I used a pin to secure the braids to the head, and I hid the ends under the braids.
It's time to decorate the outfit. As she is inspired by the drink Sangria, she needs a lot of fruity decorations. I have these pre-made lemon, lime, orange, strawberry and kiwi slices, and I'm applying them to the swimsuit. For some more sparkle, I'm adding small rhinestones. I really like the monstera leaf motif, so I'm going to give her earrings in this shape. I'm cutting it from a craft foam and painting it with acrylics. Her head is hard as rock, and she doesn't have a factory piercing hole, so I had to make them with a large needle. I also made this cute hairpin with leaves and fruit slices. I made a toucan and tattoo project off screen, and I'm drawing it with a mechanical pencil on her hip. The leg was covered with 2 layers of MSC before I started. When the sketch is ready, I'm moving on to watercolor pencils to add the colors. Just like with the face-up, the tattoo drawing has to be layered. You can't achieve vibrant colors on the first layer only with pencils. After 1 layer of MSC, I'm coloring the whole tattoo again, and the colors are going to be more saturated. This is the part when I'm starting to do some shading and details. We thought a toucan tattoo will match the tropical theme perfectly, and the monstera leaf motif will match the earrings. I'm painting the final details with really tiny brush and acrylic paints. It's easy for me to control the thickness of lines with the brush, and paints have a lot more coverage than watercolor pencils, so I can make some really bright details.
I made these shoes a while ago. Originally, they were meant to be Stella's shoes, but we ended up switching our color palette. I will try and recreate the process of making them for you. First, I took some polymer clay and sculpted the heels. Then, I took a container and stuck the heels to the bottom of it so they wouldn't float up. I poured silicone on top and let it cure. Make sure to tap it to release air bubbles. After my mold was done, and totally the same shape as my container, I flipped it over, took out my mold master, and poured orange resin into the mold. I added craft foam straps, and that was it.
There's a lot of decorating in this project, right? Let's add some tropical magic to the shoes as well. I'm gluing miniature fruit slices and rhinestones to the stripes and the platform. I also made these fruity leaves from craft foam and I'm attaching them to the heels.
This is how she turned out. We had a lot of fun creating sangria for this collaboration. We tried some new things, like restyling the original doll's hair, and used some old things, like the shoes that were in our stash for a couple of months.
Do you like doll collaborations? Have you participated in Dollightful's Tropical Mega Collab? Tell us in the comments down below.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram for some sneak peeks and subscribe for future videos. Have an enchanted day, and we'll see you next time.